Forget absolutely everything you think you know about why some countries are rich and others are stuck in poverty. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely shatter the most stubborn myth in global economics. So here is the ultimate trap question. Do abundant natural resources actually guarantee national wealth? Think about it. If your country sits on an ocean of oil, mountains of gold, or acres of diamonds, you're pretty much destined for prosperity, right? Actually, wrong. Relying on what's in the ground is a massive trap, and honestly, it completely blinds us to the real engine of wealth creation. Prepare for a serious reality check. We literally have nations out there overflowing with natural resources that are economically paralyzed. And then we have Cape Verde, an island nation with absolutely zero natural resources and a severe geographical disadvantage. Yet somehow, it managed to completely destroy its regional economic averages. How on earth did they do that? Section 1, the true wealth formula. Okay, let's dive into this. The formula is actually brutal, but so simple. Open trade plus good rules equals explosive wealth. That's it. Globalization combined with solid, predictable governance is literally the recipe for cold, hard cash. But we really need to redefine what we mean by good rules or governance here, because we aren't just talking about some boring political buzzword or, casting a vote every few years. We are talking about the brutal reality of economic freedom. It's the absolute freedom to start a business without crippling red tape, the ability to trade openly with your neighbors, and the ironclad protection of your property. Section 2, Cape Verde's miracle. Zero. Yup, a big, fat zero. That is exactly how many natural resources Cape Verde has. It's an isolated island with severe geographical disadvantages. Literally nothing in the ground to dig up. Yet, they somehow turned this absolute geographic disadvantage into a massive empire of growth. And the data is just staggering. During the 1980s, while their West African neighbors were actually shrinking by negative 0.6%, Cape Verde was rocketing upward with nearly 7% growth. They completely left the region in the dust by totally pivoting their economy toward the service sector and tourism. But it wasn't magic, guys. It was a rapid-fire execution of highly disciplined policy shifts. They started out in the 70s with rigid central control. Then, boom, 1988 hits, free markets. 1998, currency pegged to kill inflation. And by 2007, middle income status achieved. They engineered this financial reputation entirely from scratch. Section 3, Mozambique's comeback. Now, our second case study isn't about isolation. It's about rising from absolute ashes. From 1975 to 1992, Mozambique was totally decimated by a devastating civil war. But watch this rapid sequence of events. After a peace accord and then having massive foreign debt erased in 1999, they didn't just slowly recover. They launched into a full-blown economic takeoff. 8.5%. That is the massive average post-war growth rate Mozambique managed to pull off. To put that into perspective for you, they more than doubled the growth rate of their regional neighbors in southern Africa. From absolute ruin, they became the fastest-growing market in the entire region. Wild, right? So how did they manufacture this massive comeback? Well, through a ruthless execution of 3 specific steps. Step 1, kill inflation with really strict money rules. Step 2, roll out the red carpet for foreign mega projects. And step 3, export industrial products like aluminum to the rest of the world. They actively designed their own rescue. Section 4, the hidden data trap. All right, now we have to rip the mask off this perfect data. Notice the massive concentration going on here. Mozambique's explosive growth is dangerously tied to just one sector. We're talking mega projects, like a single giant aluminum smelter. Relying heavily on one massive factory to boost your entire national GDP is an incredibly fragile way to build an economy. And this right here is the ultimate data trap. The illusion shows us all these flashy top-level numbers and billion-dollar mega projects, but the reality on the ground, it's pretty grim. Weak rule of law for everyday citizens, poor contract enforcement, and totally undeveloped local financial markets. Sure, the macro numbers soar, but the micro reality still really struggles. And hey, Cape Verde isn't immune to this trap either. Their vulnerabilities are actually glaring. They have a really dangerous addiction to European tourists. They depend heavily on cash sent home from citizens living overseas. And their labor markets are just painfully rigid. Honestly, if the global economy sneezes, Cape Verde catches a massive cold because their wealth is incredibly exposed to external shocks. All of this forces us to aggressively question how researchers actually measure success. Academic proxy data, like a freedom index, well, it can look absolutely phenomenal on paper, but paper metrics do not always equal human reality. In Cape Verde, absolute poverty dropped, sure, but the wealth gap actually widened. The data is fundamentally flawed. Section 5, the ultimate takeaway. Let's bring it all together. The research leaves us with one undeniable conclusion, and I quote, "Society, by managing this diversity, will manage prosperity and the creation of wealth." It's really not about what you have buried in the ground. It is entirely about how you manage the rules of the game, how you adapt to your disadvantages, and how you interact with the global market. So I'm going to leave you with this final, highly provocative thought. We just saw an isolated island with zero resources, and a nation recovering from absolute violent ruin engineer massive economic miracles. If total destruction and a complete lack of natural resources cannot stop wealth creation, what exactly is your country's excuse? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.